So I'm Owen Moore. I'm the CEO of BeWhere and co-founder of BeWhere as well, along with Chris Panzik, business partner. We'll dispense with the cautionary notes. What we thought we'd do today is start with a quick financial update. We did wrap up Q3, so these are Q2 results, and there are a couple numbers that I'll share with you on Q3. We obviously don't have everything together yet on the top line and bottom line, but there are a couple numbers that are apparent that I'll share with you. Just before we go into the financial results, we have a very simple business model. We sell devices, and then we collect a monthly recurring revenue on the devices. When I started in the SaaS industry back in 1998, this was novel. Today it's well understood by both investors and clients. Revenue isn't sequentially up quarter over quarter, and it's because a large portion of our revenue is still hardware based. But 35 to 40% of our revenue is recurring. The remaining 65% or so comes from hardware and services. Q2 was a record for us at about 3.1 million in revenue. But like I said, every device we sell generates recurring revenue, and recurring revenue is a KPI that we monitor very closely. So recurring revenue over the last 2 years has had a relatively straight line increase, represented about 1.255 million. I believe it should be over 1.3 million when we post the Q3 numbers. That's the high margin side of our business. That's why we monitor it closely. Over 85% margin on the recurring revenue side. On the hardware, margins can be low. Sometimes it might only be a couple percentage points if we have to win the business. The idea is to win the business to bring in that high margin recurring revenue. EBITDA can be a little bit lumpy. Sometimes it's out of our control, as net income can be very lumpy sometimes. That big spike in net income in Q4 of last year was the result of having to realize a tax asset. Over the last 2 years, we've posted positive net income. Our auditors were forced to realize that tax losses previously and bring it in as an asset, so we don't have to pay income tax, corporate income tax. It's not the whole thing. They brought in a portion of it, so we do have some more tax losses carried forward to help us with not having to spend much on income tax for the next year or two. After that, we're going to be in a taxable position after a couple years if things go at the same rate, unless we buy an asset that has tax losses. That's always an option. Couple points on this slide. Cash is something that we monitor very closely, and that's been increasing fairly reliably. 2 years ago we were at about 2.7 million. The June quarter we were at about 3.5 million. Had very strong cash production in Q3. We're up to about 4.1 million. 550,000 increase just in Q3. So we're starting to see a pretty rapid increase in the cash position and corresponding increase in working cap. Of that 550,000 in the most recent quarter of cash generation, about 50,000 of it came from federal government grant loan, FedDev. The other 500,000 came from generating operating cash. Capital structure, probably should have started with this, but our symbol is BEW. Price is around 19 cents a share. Leaves us with a market cap of about 16 million, but enterprise value is 11 million. Our enterprise value continues to go down for 2 reasons. One, we generate more cash, working cap goes up, enterprise value goes down. The other thing is in the last 18 months or so, we've repurchased through an NCIB and canceled over 1 million shares. As we generate more cash, like I mentioned in Q3, I think you'll see us start getting a little bit more aggressive on the NCIB. We should do over 11 million in revenues this year. We should do closer to 12, maybe even a little better. So we're trading at less than 1 times enterprise value today. Growing, producing cash, producing net income, positive EBITDA. The other thing is there are some warrants out there on a financing that we did almost 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years in February. It's the last time we've raised any money. Those are priced at 35 cents. kind of bittersweet, but they are due to expire in February, and I probably own about 300,000 or 400,000 of them. So not a bad thing to remove the overhead. Would have obviously preferred the stock was higher and I could put some cash in my pocket as well as all the investors, but it is what it is. We boast some of the biggest names in wireless technology. Our clients are our distributors, so Bell, AT&T. Bell's also an investor. They own about 6% of the stock in the company. Actually, that goes up as we continue to cancel shares, so everybody's ownership is going up. AT&T, Lyft is a cool one. We work with them on the bike share side of things. I actually have a slide that is going to touch on that. Fleet Complete, the who's who in the industry. Geoforce is a good, strong telematics company that distributes a lot of product for us. Probably top 5 client is Geoforce. We have a multi-tiered, not a pyramid scheme, but a multi-tiered distribution strategy. We sell to the AT&Ts, the Bells, the Assured Telematics of the world. They sell to the end users. And that allows us to keep our staff low. We have 13 full-time people, and we should do $12 million in revenues this year. That's why we're profitable. Over half our team are engineering. We're an engineering shop. Some of the clients that AT&T have include Boeing, PG&E, Bell, sells to trailer leasers and manufacturers, and then they sell to the likes of Walmart, Home Depot, Canadian Tire, Musket Transport. Assured Telematics is a great guy. We've been working with him since the beginning. He owns contracts that use our end users, Home Depot, Lowe's, Evergy, Xcel Energy, and a number of others. We do take on some clients directly, and those are clients that we want to stay close to. We want to expand, and that includes companies like Costco, Ford, UPS, and Brinks. We've recently, last sort of 16 months up to 3 months ago, I've rolled out new product. Some of them have replaced old product. This is a trailer tracker. It energy harvests. These are what Costco uses, and Trip Trailer and TrailCon for Walmart and Home Depot and others. This is called our B10 Plus. It doesn't energy harvest. It works off 2 AA batteries. It can last for up to 10 years in the field before you have to change it. This is what we use for monitoring assets that don't get exposure to the sun. But the reporting frequency is less. This will update every 5 minutes when the trailer's moving. This usually updates once a day, and then maybe once an hour when it's moving, not every 5 minutes when it's moving. This we use for pallets, containers. Have a great project with UPS that I'll highlight that uses this product. This was a fun one. This one opened up a whole bunch of new markets for us. It's got a lot of technology packed into here. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 5G cellular, whole array of sensors, temperature, air pressure, humidity, impact, motion, all those types of things. The Wi-Fi is important. That's what allows us to do indoor tracking. So GPS doesn't work indoors. It only works when you're outside. But with Wi-Fi sniffing, it can sense a local Wi-Fi network. We can geocode the Wi-Fi network. So this little tracker is great for anti-theft, because if somebody steals something, they're not likely to leave it outside where GPS will work. They'll bring it inside, and to get an accurate location, you need Wi-Fi sensing. So that was a novel feature that we were the first to add in the industry. We are seeing some people start to add those types of things as well. The hardware is important and it's necessary, but the stickiness comes in the software. And whether you call it AI or machine learning or any other new acronym, at the end of the day, it's still code. It's software, executing commands, running functions, retrieving results, then running more commands and functions on those results. It's the software that creates the stickiness and creates the barriers to entry. So I have a couple projects that I'm going to highlight, and hopefully I can illustrate how the software is actually the key, and it's the software that gets that recurring revenue. UPS, we were awarded an RFP. We competed head-to-head against a number of companies. We were awarded the contract in Q1. We started rolling out equipment in Q2, and we're expecting a much larger rollout in Q4. We monitor their pallets and containers and crates that store engine parts to keep a large courier company's fleet on the road. And so UPS procures all these parts, and they distribute it as they're required throughout the country. If a transmission blows on a UPS truck, it comes from a central facility and gets out to the field. Where the software comes in and where the stickiness comes in, so a couple things. It needs to do indoor tracking, right? These parts are in a warehouse, they're rarely outside, so the Wi-Fi is important. They don't get access to sun, so you want something that'll last for up to 10 years just with some batteries, so it's the B10 Plus they use. But where the software becomes important and where it creates some barriers to entry is we do integrations directly to UPS's CRM system, their back-end system that controls their purchasing of parts from vendors. And it allows UPS to get into the system, query by part number, query by part name, query by vendor name, and get an accurate location within a warehouse, or if it's in transit, where it is in transit, by combining those two pieces of information. So the big thing about projects with the large companies like UPS and Costco that I'll highlight in a second is the first thing you have to do is get through their security team. The level of security that you have to go through to be able to integrate to their internal systems is no small task. It takes a lot of work, but once you get there, you're a preferred solution. And so we started with automotive parts. Now we're getting some business out of the rental division at UPS, and the rental division brings in equipment during peak season. So, you know, when Christmas is coming, they bring in extra vehicles, extra containers, extra crates, extra trailers. And because we've done all that existing work, it positions us well for the future business. But the real requirement is for them to be able to get into the system and say, where are my transmissions for this type of vehicle? And instantly spit out the result of where it sits exactly in the warehouse, or if it's in transit, where it is in transit. It's also used for their recall purposes. So if transmissions are recalled for an issue from their supplier, whether it's Ford or Penta, whoever it might be, they can log into the system, query for that part across the board, and get it returned to the manufacturer, and reduces a lot of the headaches. Costco is very similar. You know, as Costco, and you've probably all heard about the big grocers in Canada getting in trouble for making too much money. They didn't start making too much money in the last quarter, in the last 6 months. They started making too much money at the beginning of COVID. Their numbers went through the roof as restaurants were locked down and people were having to go to grocery stores to feed themselves. And so in Costco's case, we monitor their entire North American fleet of trailers, but as they grew too quick, they ran out of warehouse space, so they started putting product in the trailers in the yard. And it's just because they didn't have any room left. They didn't expect that type of growth. And so same thing. Once they started putting product in the trailer in the yard, they needed to understand what product was in that trailer. And so the way to do that efficiently is to do an integration to their CRM system to get that information. So once again, they can query by product type. It'll show them where that product is located in which trailer, and they can make their life a lot more efficient. The original use case was just trailer tracking. Just give an application to the drivers to be able to find their trailer 15, 20 minutes, half an hour was more than enough ROI for them. But as we've done further integrations to their back-end systems, it just creates a higher value solution for them. How are we doing? Oh boy. I'm not going to talk about this one. I just threw it in for local flavor. We monitor scissor lifts and wheelchairs for YVR. It's a great project. It was one of our early clients for the Mini. So construction type equipment. This is a cool one. I'm into e-bikes and e-motorcycles and e-skateboards just as a hobby, one wheels, all that stuff. So this is an industry that I believe in. Micro-mobility is changing transportation in cities across the world, not just in Canada and North America. And so this originally started with a requirement to find the lost bikes. It's another B-Mini solution. So they installed these on bike share bikes, and first client was Detroit, where a lot of bikes unfortunately went missing. About 5% of their fleet went missing, and they justified an ROI just based on recovering stolen bikes. The police don't help them. They send a group of 4 volunteers out in an SUV, and they're probably packing. I wouldn't want to go out and try and recover a bike in Detroit if they weren't packing, but you know, to each their own. So it's evolved significantly as this industry is changing. Pedal bikes, mechanical bikes are no longer the important ones, it's e-bikes, pedal-assisted e-bikes. And so once they moved to e-bikes, they needed a method to monitor the battery level because they have to bring those bikes back, charge the battery, and get them back out into the field. Before they started putting our solutions in place to monitor the e-bike battery level, they would just pick up the whole fleet and bring them back, charge them once a week, and bring them back out. So really inefficient. So this allows them to pinpoint bikes that need charging and leaving the ones out there that don't need charging. Reduced a lot of labor. To do that, you need to integrate into the bicycle's computer. So like cars, you have an ECU or an OBD2 port. Bicycles have what's called a BCU, a bicycle control unit. And when you integrate to that, you get all sorts of cool data. You can get battery level, you can get speed. And so, you know, first two were operational purposes, anti-theft, and then battery level monitoring. And once we did that BCU integration, we're starting to get into a lot of safety features. So speed limiting is something that we're doing in real time. If a bike goes over 25 kilometers because it's going down a hill, you can't stop an e-bike. You know, there's a maximum throttle that you can give, but if we detect them going down a hill, we're going to apply the brakes instantly in real time, communicating over 5G. So once again, it starts as a simple solution that has an ROI on its own. It gets more complex as you continue to evolve the relationship with your client. Where it's getting really cool is on CV2X. This brings rider safety to a whole new level. Every city has a program that they call Vision Zero, or a different name for Vision Zero, and it's all about reducing fatalities and accidents for vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, e-bikes, one-wheels, skateboards, all that type of stuff. So I actually have a short video that I'd like to play. Am I going to be able to pull this off?
You got it.
Hit escape.
Escape, second tab at the top.
Second tab at the top. Good man.
Everyone and everything here are connected using 5G-enabled CV2X, which stands for Cellular Vehicle to Everything. CV2X helps prevent collisions between cars, cyclists, and pedestrians by allowing vehicles to share real-time information with their surroundings. Vehicles with CV2X can sense nearby vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians through cameras, radar, and LiDAR sensors. When a vehicle identifies a possible collision, it uses CV2X to send out warning messages containing its position, speed, and intended movements. Nearby vehicles, including cars, cyclists, and pedestrians, instantly receive these warning messages. This quick communication ensures that everyone knows about potential dangers. Drivers get alerts in their vehicles, while cyclists and pedestrians receive warnings on their smartphones or wearables. Some vehicles with advanced driver assistance systems can even react to these warnings to help avoid collisions. By improving communication between vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians, CV2X significantly reduces the risk of collisions and improves road safety. The success of CV2X in preventing collisions depends on many people using the technology. As this technology improves, both 5G and CV2X will become essential for safer roads. Toronto-based BeWhere and their partners Bell and Western University Canada are trialing CV2X on a university campus, a collaboration designed to reduce accidents and fatalities at intersections for bike share users. The GSMA Foundry is the home of mobile innovation, scaling exciting new technologies such as CV2X through short-term accelerator projects.
Okay. So once again, a lot of our projects, you'll see a recurring theme. We start off with trying to meet a very simple requirement that provides them a return on investment, and then we expand it. And our job as a wireless technology company is to understand what the next generation of wireless technology is coming down the pipe and how that can be utilized by our clients to drive efficiencies, to increase safety, to turn a better bottom line for them, whatever the case may be. So that's all I have for you. I promised to get the guys back on time. I think I might have achieved at least one goal today. Thank you.